Well, Sam Bruce, Sam MMA Fan Bronx on Twitter, and I'm just on here to react to UFC 252 just took place. Just finished up with Stipe Miocic taking the Trilogy, 2 out of the 3 fights from Daniel Cormier. This fight goes to decision. He won 4 rounds to 1 on 2 cards and 3 rounds to 2 on a third card. I thought Stipe won all 5 rounds. It was a pretty eventful fight. A lot of same shenanigans that happened in the first 2 fights. I poked from DC, I think in round 1. Stipe returned the favor in a big way in I think round 2. What I saw was Stipe control the action round 1. This is all off my recollection of what I just saw. It seemed like he was winning most of the fight round 1. He was doing some good work. The heavyweights, and when they hit one another, it's more impactful, and you're always a finish is right around the corner, possibly with all of those blows. And so that's what I noticed. But then towards the end, maybe a 20-second flurry at the end, DC has the best shots of that round. And you could potentially say, okay, I'll give it to DC. I'll score that round for DC. I didn't do that because I just thought that the cumulative work that Stipe had put in was enough to keep the round. Round 2 is kind of the reverse. DC was there, and he's beating Stipe even better than what Stipe was doing to him early in round 1. But then I definitely score that round for Stipe because he drops DC. He hurts him, DC flees, and he ends up dropping him, and he finishes the round on top of DC, where it was like one of those things where he kind of just seemed like he ran out of time. And you know that DC was really out of sorts just based on going back to his corner, and he's doing the same thing that Robert Whitaker did in his fight with Adesanya, where he's kind of trying to figure out, what happened. It seemed like DC definitely caught a concussion in that round because I think he was trying to figure out, did I get dropped or did he take me down? What happened? He was kind of like trying to get back some memory loss or something like that. I didn't like the way his corner advised him, or what they advised him. I mean, I've seen him do that, do this thing where when DC gets hurt, a lot of times he tends to his initial thought is to flee, but he's like a boxer wrestler, and to me that doesn't make a lot of sense. That I understand you're hurt and you want to get out of that situation, but like a lot of times when you see boxers get stung, they'll try to tie up, and I feel like that would have been the preferable play for DC, is to just try to wrap Stipe up and kill time that way. After the round 2, I thought that no way DC would make it out of round 3. He was just in too bad a way after round 2. But I was wrong. Stipe was very active. He wasn't necessarily doing anything that was devastating, but very active. And to me, it's like through activity, through smart game planning, he just won rounds 3, 4, and 5. What he was doing is Daniel had this way where he like kind of grabs over the top of DC's head and gives up like an underhook position, and he with his left arm he's grabbing on DC's head, and with his right arm he's looking to like wrench down with the left arm and then crack him with a right hand. That's how he finished the first fight. Didn't really work in fight 2, and in fight 3 same thing, but except this time Stipe, the adjustment he made was to control Daniel's right arm with his left arm, so that that wasn't just a free lever for him to just turn and cork and crack crack Stipe. So Stipe did a lot of control that way, and he did a lot of clinching up against the fence. And it seemed like Daniel, round 3, he just took it off, and just let Stipe spend a lot of time pressing him against the fence. A lot of the same happened in rounds 4 and 5. It was kind of disappointing that he did not fight at all to like turn the tables, to switch that position. But it is what it is, you know. This was his last hurrah. He came in much better shape, but Stipe came in much better shape. I mean, Stipe was, you know, chiseled. He was like an Adonis. I mean, he even had like his hair, he grew his hair out. It's almost like, you know, you hear a lot of these fighters say, you know, look good, fight good, all that stuff. And so they were both leaner than they've been. And it was, you know, a competitive bout. I saw John Jones saying on Twitter that, you know, it seems like it's a whole lot slower pace at heavyweight. And, you know, I think he's like, will he or won't he type of deal. But I think he'd be surprised. You know, you pack on 20 pounds and then you go in there and try to fight somebody like a Stipe. You might think it's a slower pace looking from the outside. I think he'd really feel it. He'd feel more pressure than what he felt in his last few fights. And, you know, a lot of us feel like those last few fights didn't go terribly well for him. So he might want to look before he leaps. I don't know. That's a sidebar. Other fight, you know, there's many fights, but the now I'm blanking on the kid's name. He loses one fight by a fluky injury, and now I can't remember his name. Sugar Sean O'Malley. He loses by TKO to Marlon Chito Vera. He's got some issue with his legs. I mean, you know, you're never surprised when you see somebody who's like as tall as he is. I think he's like 5'11" or something, fighting at 135 pounds. And it seems like he's kind of has some brittle bones or something. Something's going on. He tried to make some kind of move, maybe 3 minutes into round 1, and he just like fell awkwardly for a quick second. And, you know, to my you know, untrained eye, Chito was he didn't do anything to cause this injury. It was just like O'Malley trying to just like do some movement, and kind of just like his leg buckled, and it looked like his foot almost got like caught like behind like the shin, and like he almost collapsed on the top of his foot, like almost folded it over. And he got up, and you know, it was clear to everybody that, like, you know, something's not right with O'Malley. Like, you know, it's kind of initially he spent the next few time just like really limited in his movement. Then it seemed to be getting better, but you know, he really wasn't able to offer up much by way of offense. And then finally, Chito. I'm trying to remember what was the closing sequence that. How he got on top of O'Malley. It seemed like he hit him with something. It was like some blows and a trip or something, some kind of combination. I have to go back and look. But he finishes by just pounding out Sugar Sean. And, you know, some people were saying, you know, early stoppage, and it wasn't an early stoppage, you know, considering it, you know, the fact that it was clear O'Malley didn't want to be in there anymore because of the injury. There's no reason for us to see a young guy get beat on to close out the round, and then, you know, come back out limping for another round. You know, and this was Herb Dean, and that was a good stoppage. And, you know, we know Herb is this is actually, I think, the second straight good stoppage in my opinion. You know, he stopped the Shabazian Brunson fight. Some people were a little critical that he even let Shabazian back out, but I think that's refereeing. I've seen that in boxing fights where, you know, let the guy out, and, you know, once they've been dropped and they've been compromised, they're on a short leash. Everything else from the card was I wasn't terribly impressed with the card. Jairzinho Rosenstrike beat JDS, TKO'd him. Wasn't great. Wasn't anything. I'm trying to think who was I the most impressed with tonight. It's a shame because I don't even remember the girl's name. But the woman who beat Felice Herrig by armbar, she just came in, she shot on her, and she just displayed some beautiful grappling. I'm trying to cut this in the next 20 or so seconds. So those are my reflections. I would say this was just a bad card in general. UFC 252. It looked paltry. We all, we prejudge cards, despite what Dana White says. It looked paltry, and it was just kind of a downer. That's my thoughts of UFC 252.